Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Eel Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Mike. So let's get right into this. We have a lot to talk about. So we're going to be talking about the Fantastic Four trailer. We're going to be moving on to our thoughts on the Defenders show. I have to phrase it that way.
Very
We're gonna,
specific this time.
yep, we're gonna then move on to Harley Quinn, then Invincible, moving on to Spider-Man, and then my character spotlight. So let's get right into it and talk about the trailer. So the trailer gave us exactly what we were looking for. The only thing I can't remember in the trailer though was, did we see Mr. Fantastic use his powers?
He was the only one we saw not use his powers.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. Okay, because I was like, I remember seeing Human Torch. Obviously, we saw the thing, and we see Sue go invisible. But I'm
Yep.
like, I cannot for the life of me remember seeing Mr. Fantastic stretch.
Yep. No, he's the only one that didn't show it, and they're talking about from the comments sections of the trailers. They're thinking that it's because the stretchiness might not look great,
Yeah,
so they're trying to tweak it before they officially show it.
which,
Um,
I mean, to be fair, that's fine because I mean, we've seen where the CGI is not always perfect when the trailers come out,
yeah,
so it's not the end of the world. But that would make sense. They don't want to ruin it because they are going up against Superman, and right now Superman's getting a lot of heat, which doesn't make any sense to me about the CGI with him flying.
yeah. Even though it
Did
wasn't
you? Did you?
CGI, yeah, I've seen
Did
it.
you?
I've seen it.
And I'm like, okay, who's to say he just isn't cross-eyed? Like, it's just, it could be him. Like, don't.
There's so many things. James Gunn came out and was like, if you don't think they're like he came out and specifically challenged that scene because people were, like you said, saying it was terrible CGI and the cross-eyed and all that other stuff. And uh James Gunn came out and was like, we used a wide shot, and the wide shot might make it look a little weird. I apologize if this isn't for you. Like, what else
Well,
are you
no,
gonna
so
say?
yeah, I mean, like, and then people were like, "Oh, why did he choose to fly in the small spot instead of like straight ahead?" And I'm thinking to myself, because he's Superman,
Because
and
he
can
wanted
you
to,
like,
like I keep saying, people have been looking for nitpicking everything, and especially when it comes to Superman lately after Man of Steel and the Snyderverse, it's become so much worse. And
But
it
yeah, I don't understand it. But anyway, so like the CGI, I will say, it didn't look bad. Anything I saw really, there was
no,
nothing like crazy that I saw. I mean, I'm not a big fan of, but it's again, it's I haven't seen. Part of my issue is I have a thought of how I have like the characters, but not from the '60s, which I
yeah,
have to really take into consideration because it's set in the '60s. People
yep,
look different back then. Their
that's so
costumes
true.
look different.
Yep,
So it's because like for me, I was like, oh, Johnny doesn't look like a playboy in this as much as he does in all the others. And then I'm like, but in the '60s, no, this is correct.
that's
Um,
true. Yeah.
the only thing I will say that I have a complaint about, um, and I'm curious of how they're going to deal with this, is Human Torch burning up, going into the atmosphere, and then having his regular clothes.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. I
That
mean,
is, but that's minuscule. But it's like it was just the one thing where I was like,
yeah, yeah, that's true.
Um, but to be
Um,
fair, Reed Richards is the smartest man in the universe. He could have made them clothes that is fireproof. I'm not stating he didn't. I'm just stating like I'm so used to him when he flames on, his clothes burn off, and he's got the Fantastic
the
Four.
his outfit. Yep,
Correct. So
absolutely.
it's but like again,
Um,
that's a minor thing.
what did you think of? I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but what was more into? If you can go in a little bit more into how the thing looks. I know you
All
were
right, so
saying
I
that.
so I said originally my first thought was like overall I didn't have a problem with him. Like
Hmm.
overall I didn't have a problem, but there was something about his face that bothered me, like his head, and I was
Yep.
trying to figure it out, and I'm like, it like to me I'm like, I mean it doesn't it look like I clearly know it's the thing, like it
Yeah.
wasn't any question there obviously, but I'm like I don't know why it looks the way it does. Like to me it's like his eyebrow was too pushed out,
That.
so but I look up what the thing looked like in the '60s, and that was legitimately what it looked like the
It,
big brow and everything else.
straight from the comics.
No,
Um,
absolutely. The other thing that people had a problem with was Ben's voice didn't change when he turned into the Thing.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that, to be honest.
But technically, in the comics, it was stated that his voice shouldn't change
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
because
never.
supposedly in the comics, the way his anatomy is, eternally is not rock. So therefore,
Yeah, yeah.
which obviously makes sense, but like the one they did for the Fantastic Four in 2005, they made him rock internally too.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was the way his heart, like they showed, like they briefly showed, like his heart, like was kind of like almost like a rock, but
Oh,
it was
I,
still
I,
like,
I do not remember that.
um. But anyway, my point I'm making is it's like so they're like, oh well, he's supposed to have a gravelly voice, and I'm like, I mean, we've yes, I guess we've only ever heard him with a gravelly voice, but like I don't see it as a huge issue because
Did the 2018 one have a gravelly voice too? Because I'll be honest, I never saw the 2018 one after I heard how terrible it was. So
I don't know. I'm assuming so, but he also looked really bad CGI wise, so
yeah, I mean, I
I'm
heard he
not
was
gonna
bad,
take him. You know what I
but
mean?
um,
But no, like like I said, that's like minor stuff. But no, I liked what he looked like. I also like the suit. I like the family. I like the fact that they are. How do I want to phrase this? Morals were very different in the 60s, obviously. So like the big piece of like Reed Richards being like family dinner on Sunday all the time, we never miss it. And
yeah,
it's like in my mind I'm like that's so stupid, but then I'm like it's the 60s, it makes sense. Like all everything I have a problem with is because I don't know the 60s as well as I thought I did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
that's fair. That's fair.
all
'Cause
the
I guess you're going along the lines of like nitpicking that kind of stuff, where
but
it's
it's like
like,
so in my mind I keep forgetting and I don't know why
yeah,
I keep forgetting this that it's not modern day.
yeah, and you're
Like that's
just
what keeps throwing me
you're
off
just
because
go
it's like
you
because I'm like
you're.
what?
I guess the thing with this trailer is like they showed the people using their powers,
Well,
except for
yes.
Reed Richards,
Yep.
and they showed Galactus. But other than that,
Yes.
they didn't really show much about what is going on in the movie.
Well,
They're
they sort
talking about family values and what life is like in kind of like what life is like in the 60s. So giving us a this trailer was more of a I guess a universe setter, letting people get prepared of what to expect.
it sort of also gave us what's kind of going on as well. In the sense of I think it was when he was talking to Sue, but do not quote me on this. He had made a comment being like, "Oh, I'm worried about us going back into space." He goes, "Because the last time you didn't turn invisible."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so like we know they're gonna go back into space, um, which again that doesn't like give us a huge plot point necessarily,
no,
but like the my assumption would be it has to do with Galactus. But what threw me off was Galactus was on Earth. And that when I say that's not a bad thing. I'm just stating like based on again a trailer doesn't give us everything where I'm not expecting it to.
yeah.
But like all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're gonna have to go back into space and everything else. Granted, not in that phrasing, but you get my point. And then all of a sudden we see Galactus staring at the Statue of Liberty.
It's like if Galactus is already on planet, why do you need to go into space?
That's
I,
more
I
my
get I
thing.
get that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's my thing. Um, but yeah, so I mean, Galactus looks good, but like it was only at the back of his head. So
we only saw the back, so I mean, it's not like we can see too much of what's going
I mean,
on.
I'll say this: he's already better than 2005. Oh no, sorry,
Valid.
2006. Because 2005 was the first one.
Oh, it was only a year apart.
I thought so. Maybe it was two. It was very short in between.
Huh. Okay. Well, either way, definitely they already have a jump start on it, so that's
Oh no, for sure. I mean, it's already better, so I'm not concerned on that front. So no matter what, this is still going to be the best live action Galactus we've ever
I'm
had.
just very curious if they're gonna tie it into the MCU, or for the time being they're gonna keep this separate and then add it down the road.
I think it's going to be
Um.
very similar to Captain Marvel, where it's its own thing until like the after credits.
Mhm. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
my
which is
that's
fine.
my that's my guess.
Yeah.
Which I mean would make sense because I mean to be fair, we could see some characters we've already met. I mean that's the big thing. We could see some
True.
characters we've already met
We
because we
could.
do have Ant Man, we have Howard Stark, We have Goliath. I think at this point, though, I don't know if Wasp is still around. She might be.
Uh,
I
yeah,
don't.
she should be
I know.
in the 60s. Yeah,
I know, but I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant. Oh, you actually, you know what? Goliath might not exist. May,
I don't really know the age of Goliath, so but I think Wasp is still around. I think it was later that she closer closer to modern times where she disappears.
no, because I think it was the. Well, no, it would have been the '60s because in the '50s.
I
No, I
mean,
think it was. So it was the '60s when he came out when he basically like goes to punch Howard Stark in the face
yeah. Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Because
because his wife.
because at that point, yeah. Well, that makes Wasp like our modern day Wasp a lot older than because if she was born in the 60s,
No, I know it's tough. I really don't have an answer for
you
you.
you see where I'm getting at. I'm like trying
Yeah,
to
but it,
base
well,
it.
no, but Scott Lang is old too.
Yeah, but if he was again 60s,
50, 50.
okay, 2010, I guess. Yeah,
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like it's actually fits. It's like not. I mean, it actually fits.
it would make him on the older end of 50, like late 50s,
Yeah, but it's also
late
Paul Rudd.
50s, early 60s.
But Paul Rudd is actually that age, which is why it works. So it's like
That's
it
true. He
doesn't
doesn't
help.
age. He doesn't
So it's
age.
like it doesn't help. But no. So I mean, there are characters around, obviously, that exist. We also know Loki was around during that time too.
Loki
Um,
and Thor, technically, yeah.
well, no, Loki was on Earth at that point, I think.
Was he?
No, he was in the 20s. No, 30s, 40s. Remember, he was in the plane and then he jumped out as a joke.
Oh yeah, because he was pranking. Yep, he was pulling
No,
pranks.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. He wasn't pulling a prank. He was kind of like forced to by Thor. It was like a bet, and he lost. Um, if I remember correctly, the exact phrasing, I think it had to do with the fact that Thor made a bet with him and he had to do it. Um,
Well, either way, like he was causing mischief. I remember that now. I remember that.
yeah, I don't. So yeah, I don't. But I also question too, because we've never heard of the Fantastic Four. I don't think they're part of the same universe.
No, they're not. No,
No, that's been confirmed.
that has been confirmed. Yeah.
I knew that.
That's why I'm curious if they're going to tie it into the MCU at all, or if it's just going to remain its own separate thing until down the
No, my
road.
guess. No, my guess would be is it's its own. No, no, it's its own separate thing until the after credits. I'll still stick with my
Yeah.
thought with Captain Marvel.
So it's
Um,
like like I'm curious if like it'll be like if they'll drop
or
like
if
little
they're
hits of like oh
or if
this
they
is
do
going
like
on like with bringing in mentioning Kang or something, that making it
well, it would actually make more sense that they talk about Doom than
they
Kang.
could talk about Doom, but I'm
Only
just
because it's Fantastic Four. If it was any other movie, I would have been like,
the only reason I
okay,
said
fine, but
Kang
I'm
is
still
because Doom. I know I've been you're whiter than usual.
yeah. Anyway,
But the reason why I was saying Kang is because Doom hasn't been introduced in the MCU yet. So, like, mention Kang about, because we've had the events of Loki and Ant-Man. So I,
or 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 we have Jonathan Majors come in and he pops at the feet of the Fantastic Four, and they go, What's happening?" He goes, "The end is coming." And they go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Doom is here."
could do that too.
I mean, to be fair, because he's supposedly he's greenlight back in.
They're talking about it. Yep. Um,
It's not a no, but yeah. Overall, I mean, it's a trailer. I don't have a problem. It the cinematic works for the '60s. Everything looks good. I have to say that I've seen so far.
mhm.
Nothing has been crazy. We get to see the sadness in the Thing's eyes, which is not what I wanted to see in the trailer.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just I don't have a problem. There was nothing other than the Human Torch's clothes not burning up. I've not had an issue.
Yeah, no. I mean, my only thing for it was just similar to you is how the thing looks, and that's only because I do like the 2004 2005 look of the Thing. So it's just like an adjustment to get used to. And obviously, like you said, it's more comic book accurate. It
No,
is, you know,
absolutely. I mean,
it is what it is.
that's why I don't care, because it's like, so like the huge difference too is like, what's his name? I mean, obviously this guy's, it's the same voice, but like normally when they do like the voice change thing, they do like a bunch of stuff to like change it.
Yeah.
In 2005, that actor did the both voices himself with no CGI, no nothing.
Oh, that's cool. Hmm.
Um, so I mean, I give the guy a lot of credit. Also, I we've talked about this. That casting for Fantastic Four was good.
No, it was a good cast. It was a solid
It
casting,
it was in a
and
bad time, meaning like CGI was not where it is now. They didn't have the greatest knowledge of comics in general, but the first movie was good because how can you really screw up Doom and the Fantastic Four? You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
when you start getting into Galactus where you're like, uh oh.
no, they found a way.
No, they did. But what I'm saying is, it's like,
No, the first one wasn't bad. The first
no.
one was
And
a decent
the second one
movie.
I didn't hate. I just hated Galactus.
Galactus and the Silver Surfer was what really caused a problem with the second movie.
Yeah, they
And
didn't. They made Silver Surfer weak, but
yeah, but you know, it is what it is. That killed that part of it,
but
and then
Doom was so good. Oh,
no, he was a good.
such a good Doom.
Yeah, no, it was a good Doom, and it set the groundwork. So now when this one comes in, Tony Stark, we're gonna have to see what happens with not Tony Stark, Robert Downey
Robert Downey
Jr.
Jr.
When he takes up the role, we'll see how they tie this together.
No, I'm very curious.
Supposedly they're supposed to be talking. They're supposed to point out why this Doom looks like Tony Stark.
Oh,
Supposedly.
I'm assuming they're going to. I mean, the other thing too is it's the multiverse,
Mm-hmm.
and like he is this going to sound really stupid to say, he could still be an Iron Man variant without being Iron Man. Meaning, like, he doesn't have to be Tony Stark to be an Iron Man variant.
Yeah, it's possible.
And again,
They can find loopholes. Yeah.
there's a loophole for everything. I mean, hello, Kang the Conqueror, Victor Timely.
Yeah. No, I understand.
But you get my point. So it's like that's more of what I'm getting at. So it's like I'm very curious on that. I have a feeling they're going to talk about it. Also, too, I'm wondering if they're going to be just Tech or if he's going to be Mystic as well.
Mm.
Because this could be a version that goes back to the beginning of time, powers himself up, and gets himself ready. Because that's also happened in the comics as well. He
We'll have
just,
to see.
yeah, I'm very curious. I mean, like I said, we'll move on from this because we could talk about this for hours. But overall, I don't hate it. The only thing I have to say is the age difference, like visually, between Mr. Fantastic and the rest of the cast looks very much largely different. Um,
Pedro kind of looks a little bit older, but I mean, it would make sense for Johnny Storm just because
no,
he.
Johnny Storm should look younger because he's supposed to be the younger brother. I'm
Yeah.
not arguing that point. And like, I don't know, maybe because Ben, like, we don't get to see too much of Ben. We
Mm.
only see the Thing, so it's like we don't really get to really know what his age is, type of thing. So it's like,
I
I
thought
don't
it
know.
was fine, but I mean, yes, he does.
Well,
He does have a
it's just
little
because
bit.
Sue also looks just as young as Johnny.
I mean, I think she looked a little bit older, but I mean,
It's also a trailer. Like it's not like we got the good look at everyone.
I don't think that one's that big of a deal. But
I do. Um,
I know you just got to find something to pick on, because it didn't give
hey,
you enough.
well, no, it actually gave me enough. It actually surprisingly did. Um, because it gave us what we were looking for, other than Mister Fantastic's powers.
Yeah,
It's literally it gave
that's
us
the only. That is the only thing that's missing. So
yeah. But your situation makes sense. So let's move on to the defenders. So Mike, we talked about this. You did not like it as much as I thought you would have. I didn't
well,
say you didn't hate it. No, I didn't say you
yeah,
didn't hate it. I said
yeah,
you didn't like it as much as I thought you were going to.
yeah. No, I liked it. It was just a lot of some of the things I probably could have used an extra episode to really like tell the story a little bit better. But excuse me. But like I definitely rate it. I think I would probably rate it as Um, I think I will put it just below Luke Cage.
Ooh, okay. So you
Um,
officially decided.
I think so. Just because it didn't really tell enough of us. Like it could have used a extra episode to really pan the difference of like um
The different members of the hand or
the
something.
different members of the hand instead of just leaving it as this is all the hand and this is how it is. It's like they could have used a little bit more because of these characters coming in and just being like, oh, I'm here, we're the hand and we live forever. um
Well, no, those particular five do because they're originally from Kung Lao.
well, those ones, yes, because of
And do you know how they live forever?
the 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 dragon. uh
They grind their bones. They
yes.
grind the dragon bones, and they seep into it, and they live forever. Well, they don't live forever, but they do
And
live
they are
forever.
running out, so
Well, no, they ran out.
they
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 ran
ran
out, and
they
then they
ran
found
out
some.
they ran out reviving Elektra.
Yeah, they officially ran out when they got Elektra, but then they found out where they could get more, and they needed the Iron Fist to do so. And they got them. They found more, and then they were technically, let's be honest, they could have made more, a lot more, and lived almost double what they lived before. The only difference was the building go boom, and
Yeah.
they weren't able to. So so obviously, all right. So you didn't like the hand as much as I thought you did because to me it was more the fact of they are a unit. They are a massive unit that just have lived forever, and they're scared of dying because realistically they all are.
Well, yes, it's one of those things where it's I am getting more like realistic about the situation instead of letting my mind just drift into fantasy land with what these shows are supposed to be doing. Where it's like, like I said, like I talked to you yesterday about how Gao and the other one, um, Bu- Bu-
Bakuda.
Bakuda, uh, in Iron Fist, they were at each other's throats and didn't want the other one to get ahead because they wanted their side of the hand to thrive. But now coming to this one, they just put it all beside them, work together to and not have any issues. I could like in my head, it's like, okay, I could say fine, they could work together, but you have to have that in my head. It's like you have to have that strain, and it was just like, nope, it's fine. We'll put all the differences aside just to be able to make it work out. Even though, like you said that in this one they had a common thing that they needed in order to in they there was a reason for them to put their differences aside. Technically, in Iron Fist, that situation was still applied because they both wanted the Iron Fist.
No, absolutely, but for different reasons because they were at the time. Remember, they never saw the So like their reasoning for the Iron Fist was actually different. Um, so like because of that, it wasn't the same goal. They both wanted the Iron Fist for very different reasons. However, obviously later they found out they needed the Iron Fist for a very different reason, but they both needed him for that.
Yeah,
Okay, so that changes it. The other thing too is if you notice too, he only captured her. He didn't torture her. So like, although he did cause an issue for her, he could have done a lot worse.
I
And
mean,
so,
yeah,
so like, there's still a level of respect between the two of them. Plus, they've lived for 1,000 years.
yeah. I mean, I get that. Yeah,
So it's like realistically, like they just go with the flow, being like, you know what, we've lived this long, we don't care.
and I still I do like I said yesterday. It's Gao is still very manipulative. She was manipulating everybody,
Oh yeah, no,
and
she's
everybody
manipulative.
just falls for it. They haven't
But
seen through her yet.
well, no, they do and they don't at the same time. It's so bizarre because they know how she's like, but yet she still does it,
Hmm.
and still successful. Because if you notice, each one of the hands has a very specific skill set.
Yeah.
And so obviously Alexandra is the leader. Like she
Hmm.
is by far the brains of the operation. That doesn't mean everyone else is stupid. It just means she's the brains of the operation, right? You have ooh, my knuckle.
I heard
We have
that.
we have Gao being the manipulator. We have Bakudo being the wild card. We have the hunter,
Hmm.
and then we have the modern. Like he's the adjuster of the times. He's the only one, in my opinion, that actually adjusted with times um, through modern times. Now, when
Um,
I say that, it's because his Legion of the Hand had guns instead of swords. And not to
yeah,
say others did not, but they were less likely to have them.
no, that's
But
fair.
my favorite line though was between Bakudo and Gao when they first saw each other since they were separated. And I took this as them being strained because they were talking about themselves being like gods and being worshipped and their disciples. And she
Yeah,
goes, "Well, you know, Colleen is one of your disciples, and you shouldn't be." And he goes, "Really?" He goes, "Well, I have a respect for my disciples. I don't need to blind them to be my
yeah,
disciples." So
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
just like you have that little boom, right? Um, but no, I liked it. I understand your point. I liked it because it only added the hand, and they only lasted for that long. But
I get,
they did
I
great
get
with it.
that. No,
And
I get that.
Electra got to shine in like the stereotypical Electra.
I didn't expect the portrayal of Elektra to kill the leader. I forget her
Alexandra.
name,
Yep.
Alexandra. Um, I didn't see that one coming. Like they were hinting that she was going to turn on her, but when it happened,
No, no. So they
like,
hinted. No, they hinted that she was going to turn on the hand.
well,
They
yes,
they thought she was going to work still with her. They were worried about themselves getting attacked.
I knew that the hand didn't trust her. I obviously, and Alexandra was like making it like, oh, you know, if you don't obey me, then I'm going to send her loose on you. But at the end, when she left the room and went looking for her, like trying to remember what happened in her past life, I was like, okay, they're hinting that she's going to turn on Alexandra because she's
Yeah, she's
starting
gonna.
to remember. Um, I didn't expect it to turn the way out the way it did, obviously, um, which was cool. You know, like you said, I like that Electra shined and she was pretty badass.
Oh,
Um,
phenomenal. Um, no, I enjoyed it very much so. And
still hate Iron Fist because he's so emotional and like just like
you're never gonna love him, no matter what.
it's just
I'll
like
say this,
unbelievable how much he lets his emotions get in the way.
and like Stick's even like saying it too. He's like, "Man, I've never met anybody who is as emotional as you."
Yeah,
And I'm
so
like thinking to myself, like, and he says Matt is like emotionally unstable or like
yeah.
like, and he's like, "Oh, this Iron Fist sucks."
It's
Um,
I I talked about it yesterday with you. I didn't like how Foggy and Karen were treating Matt because of his alter ego. Like I can understand it in terms of they're worried about their friend, but at the same time,
it's
if
one
you're
of those.
really his friend, you should be there for him and not.
Yeah, but I think that's them being there for him because here's the thing: to them, he's Matt Murdock. He's not
Yeah,
Daredevil. He's not
no,
the devil, right?
I
Where
understand that.
where to Matt Murdock, he's well. I think at that point he's not both. I think he's still just one because he really.
At that point, he quit being Daredevil to
No,
prove to
I
them.
know, but my point I'm making is like but he can only be one. He
Yeah,
can never. Right now he can't be both.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because he can't figure it out. So it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, so what's gonna happen now, type of thing. But anyway, my whole thing with that is they want their friend back because they know the amount of good he can do without risking his life.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
that's more of what it is. And for me, it's like I get it. So that's where they're coming from. But I think Foggy was the one at the end to be like, hey, like you know what, Matt, you need to do this because
Yes.
it's never gonna end if you don't. And he
No,
goes, I'm
it is true. My
and
thing was just it was I didn't like that they were basically I didn't like that they cut him out until he changed his life and cut out the devil. Uh, I just thought that
I
was
also liked how they treated it like an addiction.
yeah
They very much
yeah they did.
treated it like an addiction. But I will say, Jessica, like the amount of quick whips between all the characters was perfect.
Oh yeah,
Like
they were very
the
quick on their feet with the responses. Yeah,
the writers for them were perfect for when they were interacting with each other.
yeah,
Um, Jessica Jones and put it this way, like Luke Cage and Iron Fist are like friends in the comics, so like their reactions made sense, all that stuff, right? But the stuff between Jessica Jones and Matt were hilarious to me because he's like, no, 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 I'm not him, like blah blah, you don't got the wrong guy, and she's like, I have this friend who's father was a boxer and he got beat up a lot and like he tried to do good, but it was when he did good was when he lost his life, and at the end I we had to just tell my friend like he was doing the good thing, and like at
Hmm.
the end his dad wasn't a bad guy. And just Matt being like, how do you know? She goes, it's not that hard to figure out. She goes, when she's like, a blind guy who is a good fighter.
Yeah.
So I got to give
Um,
her credit on that. No, all of that was great. I also liked all the characters coming back too, even for a short period, just for like them coming.
from all of them, yeah.
So the big thing I
The
didn't mention yesterday though, that I wanted to mention today was Misty Knight.
Yep, the arm. Yep, you like dropped that at the end of the last episode with Luke Cage, and and as soon as it happened, I was like, this guy loves dropping teases, and like me being clueless.
Yeah, it's just so perfect too, because it's like I was expecting a text to be like, really, you couldn't have just said she lost her arm? Wouldn't it have been easier? And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, I guess he either forgot or didn't want to give me any praise. No, it was more the fact of like, so that was perfect. Um, but no, like everyone was perfect. Claire was awesome as well. Like we
Mm,
got to this was like it, it wasn't the end, obviously, but like this was a good closure. Like it could have
yeah,
been a good closure. But no. So you now know what I meant by the fighting too, like the
I
fight
mean,
and like
obviously we could see the different skill level between everybody fighting, and obviously, like you said, Jessica is being out of place because she's not a fighter in any way. Like
no,
as
but she hits
you know,
hard, which is
yeah,
all you
she
realistically. That's all she's ever needed.
that's all she knows is if she's going to be in a fight, she's got to swing her fists and hope for the best. It's not, excuse me,
I mean, the
it's
beginning,
not like the other guys where it's like everyone, like obviously Matt and Iron Fist are
like very trained.
karate, taekwondo, defense, so uh they are very, they're going to be dodging and flying around, which their when they fought for that little bit was pretty sick. And
Oh no, they I will say like all of the fight scenes, even when all four of them were together, were phenomenal.
yeah.
The fight choreography was incredible for the Defender saga in general. I
Hmm.
will never state that the fighting was bad. What I will say is some of their choices on like what they do, not the fights themselves, but like what they chose to do, might not have been the best. Mostly with Iron Fist, in my opinion.
I was about to say like Crybaby Iron Fist.
Basically, but like Matt obviously like Daredevil's great fighter, everything else. Luke Cage, he's a fighter in the sense of like a boxer, which I is very different fighting style than all the others, obviously. Um, but he can't use that skill set normally
Hmm.
because he will kill people in
Yeah,
an accident.
yeah,
That's why his fighting is more. I will say is better than Jessica's for sure. But like I also like the beginning of like Jessica showing off her strength with ripping off oh my gosh, what is her name? Trish. Trish's car off the
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
but no,
Forgot about that actually.
everything was incredible. It was perfectly well executed in my opinion in the sense of like how they did it. This was like this was also supposed to be like street level Avengers and it did that.
Yeah. The only thing that I had an issue with, actually, now looking back, like I was like, really, when Jessica was able to get the picture of Matt climbing up the alleyway, I'm because Matt is always very aware of his surroundings and is aware someone is following him that shouldn't be, and then all of a sudden she's able to just chase him, not and get those photos. Um,
So here's my thought on this one because this is going to be something that you this is not a plot like this isn't
it's nothing serious. It was just
no
like
no
real.
it's
It was one of
well
those things
you
where
got
it's
to
like,
think of it
really,
too like
he was
he's a
focused on something, so
he
it's not
focused on
like,
something else
yeah,
and the fact that he wasn't expecting a detective a PI to be able to track him
yeah,
and
like
again
like I said, it was just because of the fact that it was because he knew that if I remember correctly, he knew she was following him. He thought he lost her, and then didn't.
No,
Because
no, it was the other way. He was following her, and then he lost her.
yes, but that okay, there we go. That's what it was. Because he was following her, he lost her, but he's never like in my head it was like you've never had an issue with this. If she knew he had powers and was able to manipulate that in a way, I could understand him losing her.
So here's my thought on this one, right? In her mind, she already knew who it was.
Yeah, but
No, so in her mind, he's blind, so therefore he's using sound.
you think that she pieced that together?
I don't think she knew it to the level that he has it, but I think she knows like he's blind. His hearing's gonna be a lot better than a regular human. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Hmm.
not. You got to think of it like this though. Like realistically, people who go blind they can hear a lot better than us. Not
Yeah.
to the level
No.
of
Yeah.
Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Not to that level.
Yeah. No.
But in her mind, she's like, okay, well I know what I need to do. I need to stop making noise.
Mm.
And so she blended into the crowd, unable to be heard, and she hid herself so that way he couldn't even find her. Because the idea was she got him to lose her tail because that was the whole point. Like she's a
Yeah.
detective, so she's like, okay, he's blind, he's following my sound, so I'm gonna stop my sound.
Okay. I
If he was
mean,
following, because you remember, he was following her footsteps, not her heartbeat. Those were two very different sounds.
I agree. But knowing how Matt is, he always, at least in the past, he's always put everything together. So it's like he heard the footsteps, then he would hear the heartbeat. Now the footsteps are gone. You
No, he
know,
has a harder time. He has a harder time with
I understand it
heartbeats.
was in a crowd, so it
But
was
I'm
harder.
also wondering too, and this is something I think we could talk further about later. He can hear heartbeats, but I don't think he can distinguish whose heartbeat is whose.
Okay, that's fair. That is
Because if
fair.
you remember, every time he's used it, it was only against the hand.
Yeah,
I don't think you can easily tell whose heartbeat is whose.
that's fair. Yeah, I didn't think that part. Yeah, that's
Because it's
fair.
a lot easier to tell a person's walk than it is from their heartbeat. Because a heartbeat, there's not going to be a huge significant difference sound wise. There might be beat wise, maybe, but
Yeah.
when you're in a crowded place, everyone's heart's beating. Um, that's just me.
No,
Um,
that's fair. That part is fair. I didn't really think that about that part. But like I said, that was like the one that was like really, and then she goes and confronts him and is just allows him to steal the camera and smash it without an issue.
Also,
Um,
the fact that she didn't have a backup.
exactly. Like, why would you confront him without a backup?
But I think her whole point was it wasn't. She wasn't. I don't think she was ever going to use it. I think that was the whole point. But
Yeah.
her whole thing was, I want you to understand. Like, I know what's going on, and that's it.
Did your mic get unplugged?
No, what? Can you not hear me?
No, I hear you. It sounds like you're like
I might have hit it.
okay. That now you do sound better now. So
Okay, so I might have hit it, but I don't. I didn't. It's not unplugged.
it just all of a sudden like you just started like sounded like you were far away. That's why, and I didn't
No,
see you hit it.
but yeah. So it's no. So I liked it. I liked the interactions between everyone. The only thing I wish they had talked about, but I understand they only had so much time, was Luke talking about how his wife wasn't as innocent as he thought she was to
True.
Jessica.
Yeah.
But
They.
to be fair, they didn't have a chance to, so it's not like it was.
I think it was one of those things where because they only made it 8 episodes, if they had at least made it 10 episodes or even one more episode, they could have expanded the story a little bit just to give us a little bit more juice.
But I also think too, like it was actually a perfect length.
Oh, you think?
I think so because of how it progressed. Like you really couldn't do super. Like I don't know. I felt like based on how they did it, and again, maybe they could have expanded on like the different factions of the hand, maybe. But like other than that, I really can't see like a reason why they needed to.
Mm,
There
I
was no
mean, yeah.
like obvious reason. I mean, to be fair, you know what would have been nice too that if we would have gotten a backstory for the hand, meaning like an episode of like just their backstory of them like separating, because each one of them was in a separate part of the world. Alexandra was in Europe. We had Bakudo in South America. Um, Alexandra eventually goes to North America.
Yep.
Um, we had what's his name? I can't even remember his name. He was in Africa, and then we had Gao in China, and which is hilarious to me because it's the closest to being home.
Hmm.
And then the other guy was in Japan.
I liked that Alexandra, when was out to dinner, she had told the restaurant owner that the food was so delicious and it reminds her of food from Constantinople, and he corrected her and is like, it's actually
I forgot what
it,
it is now, but
it's
yes,
is Istanbul, I believe
yeah.
now.
And he goes, yeah, it's
Um,
modern. And she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot.
yeah, it's like it's you're literally dating yourself because it's like you were there when it was Constantinople.
But at the same time, she's not dating herself because nobody in their world would ever think that somebody could be that old.
Exactly. No, it's for an audience perspective,
No, it's perfect. No,
Yeah.
it was perfect. From an audience perspective, it was perfect. Um, and I also love them being like, "Do you remember what it was like being home?" And I'm
Yep.
just like, "That's so sad." Um,
They wanted to leave. Now you want to go back.
well, one of them, I think that my favorite one was the hunter, where he's like, "Do you know why I was thinking about? I told you I didn't want to leave, or that I was contemplating not leaving." And he
Because I
goes,
didn't want to
"Yes,
be with you.
I remember. Yes," but he goes, "I never told you why exactly. It was because I didn't want to leave with you. I wanted to leave, but not with you."
Hmm.
But no, it was. I liked it overall. Like I said, it was just. I liked it. It's not like there was nothing like
No,
clearly,
it was good. It was good,
and
especially
it was a
after.
great. I loved how they all came together. Like the first couple episodes were kind of wonky, and I forgot about that
Yeah.
because it was hard. Like they literally was like, and they changed like the film style, everything too. So like you had the Jessica Jones theme when it was Jessica Jones, you had
Yep.
the Luke Cage theme when it was Luke Cage, Daredevil when it was Daredevil, and then Iron Fist when it was Iron Fist. But like eventually when they came together, it was all one type of filming and everything else. But it was so like kind of like spaced out a little bit, but it worked out. Like I still didn't like it as much as the beginning as much as I thought I did, but
Hmm.
the end, like
No, the
once
end. The
once
end
they
made it
once
good.
they came together, I was all for it.
Yep.
And then I just love Jessica getting drunk, being like, "I guess I gotta go fight ninjas," and then throws a car at the ninja.
That's
Just it was perfect. And the next one is Punisher, correct?
Yep. That
Season
it
one.
is.
Um, so
So
yeah,
we
so
got
I'm
one, two.
very much looking forward to Punisher because I'm curious to how you feel about that.
I
Um,
mean, I'm expecting it to be dark.
I mean, yes. I don't know.
Dark, like even
No.
darker.
Oh, okay, okay. Uh,
Obviously,
that's a tough one for me to say because it's been a while. I know it was dark, but I don't remember if it was as dark. Well, you'll see. Um, but
all right.
overall, I did like the Punisher.
Um, I mean, I know everyone loved season one. I know that.
Oh no,
Uh,
yeah, no. See, if you don't like this for any reason, Mike, you are in the minority.
let's see.
Um,
Um,
because even our friend Chris was in love with this show.
oh yeah, I do remember
This
that.
was
Yep.
this was the one Marvel show that he worshipped.
I mean,
And he was one of the ones who was disappointed in season two.
oh really? Oh,
Yeah. Um. So yeah, so we had
so
that going on. So well, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
so I want to give an update on the timeline of this show, of the shows for Daredevil. So this week is
The
Punisher,
Defender.
the Defenders. Sorry.
Isn't it Jessica Jones? No, it's Luke
Next
Cage.
next week is Jessica Jones season 2.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
The week after is Luke Cage season 2.
Yep.
That's the last week of February.
Yep.
First week of March is Iron Fist season 2,
Yeah.
which also is when Daredevil airs. Daredevil season 3 is the week after, which I had said, and you said I was incorrect.
I thought he came out on the 13th. He comes out on the 6th.
He comes out on the 4th.
Why a Tuesday?
March 4th.
Okay. You know what? You're gonna have to binge it. No, I honestly, I I don't think you need to see it before you see that. I know that's weird to say.
I mean, I have as long. I don't think I'm starting work anytime soon. Supposed to be getting snow after snowstorm after snowstorm right now. So I am.
No, that's fair. I
I
think
can
for I
I
think
can
for
make it
me too.
work.
I just know I can't do 2 seasons.
I can understand that. That's a lot, especially with all the shows coming out right
That's
now.
what no,
So
that's what I mean. So it's like I definitely can't do it. But if you want to do it, go right ahead, and then we'll talk about season 3 the week later. I know it'll be harder for you, but I mean, like at the same time, it's better than nothing.
that's whatever you want to do. I just want to let you know that that's what's going on because I know you had a plan and it didn't work out the
No,
way
it,
you
it
wanted.
didn't. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but it's whatever. It's
We
not the
could
end of the world.
also just watch Daredevil season 3 the week before and then finish Luke Cage or Iron Fist after. I don't know how much of an impact the later half of the seasons have.
I'm. I want so my initial reaction to tell you is not at all. However, I
You
say
don't
that
remember.
no, I say that, and then I'm thinking to myself, maybe.
I mean, yeah, no,
No, so actually, no, that's not true. Um, oh no, so no, never mind, never mind, never mind. You don't need to see. What I'm saying is, you don't need to see the other stuff necessarily. Like, you don't need to, because he's. Spoiler alert: the season starts with him being in the bed.
yeah.
Shouldn't it shouldn't move
I
anything.
figured that.
But like, yeah. So it's like it's difficult. It's hard to explain.
It's more.
Um,
I guess it's more along the lines of you don't know if there's like an overarching villain that'll carry over. That I like if it starts
I
in
I forget if they make cameos in that season, and that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Because now they know each other,
Yep.
they might
That's
be
fair.
more friendly, and
Yep.
so that becomes a little bit of an issue because you might need to see what happened for you to know why they where they are.
Okay. Well, either way, we have 3 weeks. So we have this week and next week. We can watch. Actually, 3 weeks technically.
Well, the other thing too is it's not like you're only gonna be like worst case scenario, right? You can watch it without an issue. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just stating it's only gonna be one episode.
Is it only one? It's not two.
I don't think they're doing the double episode. I don't think so. I think
Okay.
they're
Yeah. That's also true. I'm expecting the entire season to come out. So
no, it's not. So it's not like so that like I get
yeah.
your point. Like
Yeah.
yes, but like realistically, the first couple episodes at the very least are gonna be like, what happened? Why are you
That's
here now?
yeah. That's true. Yep.
So it's like you're not gonna be really missing much. You're gonna see characters you've already seen.
It's fair. No, that didn't even click in my head. Yep. Okay.
So
I mean,
anyway,
either way, we can keep it the way it
no, I'm
is.
just letting you know, like it's not as bad as you're thinking,
Yeah.
because it's not like Netflix where all the episodes are coming out at once.
Yeah. I mean, it was more me just going along the lines of you wanting me to watch it before it aired.
I did,
So
but you know what? You watched 3 out of the 4 seasons because I counted Defenders. So like not bad.
fair.
So let's move on to Harley Quinn.
Okay.
We talked
Great
about this.
episode.
No, no, this was no. All joking aside, like we had talked about this, the episode was good. Was not at all what I was expecting, not even
No,
in the slightest. But it wasn't in a bad way. It was very much a. It was like a. It was a way to make us feel bad for Brainiac in a way I never, in a million years, would have thought I would have felt bad for.
I was about to say I don't think I've ever lived in a world where I actually felt bad for Brainiac and
Yeah.
was like he's like I understand why he's doing what he's doing. I have never thought I would ever say that.
No, and they
And
did this. They did this well. They did it where Brainiac here is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
uh,
Um, and that's not even an exaggeration. Mike will attest. Like I'm absolutely correct.
nope, he
Um,
is. He's very homesick. He misses everybody, and he doesn't. He's trying to create a perfect world so they do not experience what he experienced.
but no, then he saves it. So the other idea too is he's trying to make something 100% perfect. Once he
Yep.
makes it 100% perfect, he captures it,
Hmm.
right? Which, to be fair, is not that far off from what we've known him
He's
being in.
also he is also incredibly depressed, and
Yes.
it's not because like yes he's depressed from his world being destroyed. He's depressed because he doesn't think his life has purpose anymore because he's been perfecting so many worlds. It's not a challenge for him anymore.
So he went to a planet with the
That
lowest.
cannot be fixed.
He went to the planet with the lowest percentage of perfection and found a little speck of something that could have perfection. And that, my friends, is what we call Earth. And he went to Metropolis. And that's what made me laugh so much because I'm hoping they meant it as a joke, like it was supposed to be a joke, but definitely Brainiac wasn't making it to be a joke at all. But however, for the audience, that was hilarious.
Oh
He's like,
yeah.
oh, this planet is not even close to perfection. I don't think it ever could.
I
And
mean,
like
it's something that we always talk about. It's like, oh, the human race is such a bad thing. So it's like,
no, absolutely. And so like my whole thing is it's like it was just perfect.
no, it
And
was a
then
perfect flow of what was
And then
going
was
on.
it Bubbles? What's his name? What's
The
the monkey's
monkey,
monkey?
Coco, Coco.
Coco. Ah, finding out Coco was dead and just a pile of bones, and he wasn't talking to him. He was
I
talking
know
to
I
him.
say this a lot when I have shocking moments, but that moment when when she said, "Why is there a pile of monkey bones on the ground over there?" My jaw instantly went down. I was like, "No, not Coco!"
And I like how but I like how she goes, "Oh my God, he's definitely sleeping with those bones."
Yeah, just oh god.
And again, based on what we've seen so far, wouldn't be so far fetched. But we also know for sure, like that's not how he has relations. He downloads files. Um,
How does a computer get off
yeah,
information?
they upload and download. So, and if you do it well enough, you can upload and download at the same time. Um,
Boo. um,
but no, it was so good, but also threw me off because now we have the potential of not seeing too much of Brainiac again. The way this episode ended.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so like it was, but anyway. So what I was gonna say is, so we have that going on and all that stuff. Blah blah blah. We um, we also have Lena Luthor.
She is officially working with Brainiac.
Yes, and
And I'm
apparently
guessing you paused because you were waiting to see if I was confirming if you got the name correct.
no, I paused because I wanted to make sure I said the name correct.
That's you want to make sure that I didn't
Because
correct
I
you.
was like, I wanted to say Lana, and I'm like, it's not Lana, it's not Lana, it's Lena. Okay, good. I gotta lean with it, rock with it. So the so yeah, so it's been proven, and apparently he's working on the external stuff. She's working on the people,
Yep.
which is interesting. We still don't know how they got in touch with each other yet.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say. I'm wondering if you could actually still be correct, or if like how they're going, because like there's so many possibilities with this still.
no, we have no idea yet. I'm very curious to it, but for right now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, and then they had the creep. This was the creepiest end to an episode, in my opinion, because they go back in time, even though they
Yep.
didn't. They just they erased their memory, and they all of a sudden have all this takeout food, and Harley Quinn's just like, I feel like we weren't here, like I feel like
Yeah.
we were somewhere else, and then Lena is all of a sudden there, being like, "Hey guys," and they're like, "What are you doing here?"
How
She's
did
like,
you get into my house?
my boyfriend owns this property," and they're like, "Oh, okay." They're like,
I mean,
"Okay,
that
so
makes sense, but I don't like it.
correct." And then they're just like, and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you guys later." And she's like, "I just came to check on you because you ordered all this food and nobody's seen you in a couple of days." And she's like, "Oh, we're just trying to binge out and stuff." And it's just like, "Okay, well, I just came to check on you girls. Bye." And like, "Oh, you're
definitely,
leaving already?"
definitely creepy. Like, they're doing a good job with the creepy Lena.
But we also have proof that Harley Quinn still sort of remembers it because she
She has
made
an off feeling.
well, she also made the skull ship out of her food.
True. Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that actually.
I also
But
wonder
it's funny because she's sitting there like, I just have this weird feeling that this is like something is off as she's like designing.
and then she
Like,
but like the thing that kills me is regardless of whether you realize what the skull means, you made a skull.
yeah,
Like you know what I'm saying? Like at the very least, I can understand you not knowing it's a skull ship.
yeah.
Fine. I'm fine with that. But the fact you didn't even recognize me and like Oh no, it's
from
fine.
a psychiatrist's point of view, that's a little concerning.
So here's the other thing too. I'm also wondering because she has that split personality a little bit, her
Oh,
memory might not be able to be fully erased.
okay. That could potentially make sense.
Um, crazy is as crazy does. Um, but she's also been proven too to break out of psychic holds as well, because of her being Harley Quinn and unpredictable and everything else. So
Because
that
she's crazy.
yes, I don't want to use it appropriately, but yes, you're correct. But no, you understand the
She
point of
says she's crazy. Why are you gonna be appropriate about it?
because it's not about her. I don't care how she represents herself. I care about how we represent her. But no, all joking aside though, she that's my thought on why she can remember and Poison Ivy cannot.
That
Because
makes sense.
Poison Ivy is, I hate using this word, but sane. But I would say more of one personality, one
Yeah,
mind, is a better way of phrasing it. But
she doesn't have inner monologues with her psychiatric self.
no, she just goes to the green and talks to the plants, who are separate things but are not connected to her
Yes.
in a stereotypical way. But anyway, so yeah, that was the episode. I liked it. I just have no idea where it's gonna go now. Like
No,
I,
no, really.
I like I even said this in my own video where it's like oh I know Brainiac's gonna play a role, but like they could go in a completely different route in the next episode because Brainiac doesn't exist again.
He doesn't exist. I mean,
You know
like,
what I mean? Like
no,
like
no, no. I understand exactly what you mean, but it's like also, it's like, is he really a bad? Is he really like the bad guy?
No, you're right. I really don't think he's going to be the bad guy. I think he's going to be perceived as the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is going to be like a dark side kind of situation from Kite Man, where it's like he's the big bad, but like not really. He's just a cool guy that just wants to have an Arnold Palmer or whatever.
Well, difference here is this guy's not cool. He's and
He's a little crazy, yeah.
and sleeping with a bunch of monkey bones. So,
You know what's great is that he was watching some adult content and wanted to make sure Coco wasn't around, and he
Coco?
hallucinated Coco interrupting him when he's just sitting next to him for all eternity.
Coco, you know you're not supposed to see that kind of stuff. Oh, don't you worry. I remembered. Well, the whole thing too was so I was like, okay, so hear me out. When that scene happened, I'm like, oh, Coco's dead, right? No, no, like I'm talking about before we saw Coco. I'm like, oh no, Coco's dead. He's gonna go crazy. Like that's legitimately my thought because it's been years, right? I'm like, oh
uh,
my gosh, he's dead. He's dead, right? And then I saw Coco. I was like, oh, thank God, Coco's alive.
oh no, he's dead.
He's dead the whole time. We had some sixth sense shit happening, and I'm like, oh, he was dead the whole time, and I didn't even know it. I
The only
suspected it.
I didn't think of it just because one, like I said yesterday, is we didn't know how much time has been passed. Like we knew a lot of time had gone by, but we weren't really sure.
Well,
And then
no.
two, we didn't know like the
When he
life
said
expectancy.
Coco and we didn't hear Coco, I was like, oh no, he's dead. Like
Yeah, oh yeah,
that was my initial thought because we had not seen him
yeah. No, I understand it.
since he had come to Earth in
Uh
our minds, right? So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh no, Coco's dead.
huh.
And then he was dead, but I just didn't believe it again. I fell for it twice. They got me ready for it, took it away, and then hit me down. They're like, oh no, don't worry, he's not dead, he's alive. And then they're like, he's dead, he's dead. And I just, it was sad. But anyway, let's move on because realistically, we don't know where the next episode's gonna go.
No,
And
I have no
so,
clue.
like, at least last week we knew what was going to happen to a certain degree. We were going to get to know more about Brainiac. We did, just not in this way. But
Yeah.
we did knew what was going to happen. We don't know anything.
It's funny because last week you had said, oh, it's going to be Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy breaking out, and I said, oh, they might throw a curveball and just like make it like what's been an episode without them. And they did both.
They 100% did both. They did both, and we were like, and of course I'm like, well, okay, this was not bad. Well, no, and it was like I said, it was not a bad episode. I would have lost a bet on this one.
Oh no,
never.
No,
never,
no,
ever,
absolutely
ever,
didn't see this coming. Absolutely not.
Would
But
I've gotten parts of it right? Most likely, yes. But I'll say it this way: not the sense of the episode, but I would have gotten like what they were gonna do at some point. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
if you were to tell me that Uh,
I was gonna feel bad about Brainiac.
yeah, if you're gonna tell me that you're gonna feel you had a feeling that they were gonna do an origin story of Brainiac and you were gonna have pity on him, I were gonna call lies, and your nose
Oh
is
no,
growing.
not at all. I was more of saying the fact of like we were going to see like how he got to Earth more. Like that would have been more my thing. I was not expecting this.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It
no, I
100%.
but I also would have thought it was more of comic book accurate Brainiac. And again, there's nothing wrong with this Brainiac at all. There's nothing wrong with him. I'm just stating like because of what I know, we've never seen a deterioration like a deterrent from the regular Brainiac. So
Yeah.
this is the first time this is a brand new Brainiac that's
We
actually like, oh,
we know that Harley
this is a
Quinn
this is a
deviates from the source material.
but it also doesn't. Like it's like no, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
she
yeah,
does, but she also doesn't, and it's like so bizarre.
they
Like,
put a nice new twist on it, and it works.
but it's
Something
also
that
like,
is oh
but if you really think about it, it's not a major change. Like in the hear me out when I say this. When I say it's like not a major change, like realistically, we never really knew what happened on his planet beforehand.
yeah
Really. So like
yeah
it really isn't all that shocking that that would be it. All I'm saying is it didn't change much, but like at the same time, like just shook me.
yeah 100%, 100%.
But yeah, so yeah, we'll move on from Harley Quinn and move on to talk about Invincible. So good.
Sounds good. And this, I said I think I said this yesterday, but like obviously I had my Invincible is one of those shows just like with The
Boys,
Boys. You're gonna get me hyped
made
to watch it.
made by the same company.
Amazon Prime or like
No,
the
Amazon
actual
Prime.
studio.
No, Amazon Prime.
Okay. But the the fact like I was a little disappointed with how season 2 went. We all know this.
Oh
And
please, like we didn't hear it 1,000 times before this.
listen, you repeat yourself 100 times, so I can repeat myself 100 times. All right.
No, there's a difference. I don't normally bring it up when you do it. You bring it up every damn time I do it.
Yeah. And
So I am allowed to do it every once in a while.
but these 3 episodes just like it's like that hype is through the roof. Like
I think for me, the one thing that I would say, and this is not a bad thing, I wasn't expecting was everything in the trailers was in these 3 episodes. So we now know, not that we don't know anything else, we have an idea of what might be happening, to a certain degree, but we everything we saw was day one.
yeah. Yep.
And again, obviously, if you didn't watch it all day one, you know you might have been surprised, but like realistically, they gave away all their secrets day one.
No, it they make they made sure to let us know where this is going and to answer all the questions that we had from the trailer.
I will say this though, I have a controversial take. I am not a fan of Mark right now.
Yeah, he's being as Cecil said, arrogant prick.
Cecil said it so nicely too.
So I mean, like before Mark tried to choke him out, like he just
But like I think for me it was like more the fact of like he was so hypocritical because it's like you're taking out all your anger on your dad on these people. Like they could have easily changed. I'm not saying they were not monsters.
yeah
I'm not saying these guys aren't bad guys. They are. Like meaning like they were. But
yeah
you have the ability to redeem yourself. I
mm-hmm.
understand the idea of like, uh-oh, like this is a problem and shocking. It could definitely be shocking for sure. Like
Yep.
I wasn't expecting him to be like open arms and hugging him. But
No, 100%. But it's like he said, let's have a conversation, and he wouldn't.
that's the whole thing. Like Cecil was like legitimately like, calm the hell down so we
Yep.
can talk. He
Yeah.
goes, I will shut off the machine in your head if you just shut up and listen for
Yeah.
5 minutes.
And he just wouldn't. Like you said, he was stubborn, and he wouldn't. Mark is meant to be frustrating in this season, and it's very apparent because it's very much he's turning into his dad unknowingly because it's my way or no way.
Oh, yeah, that piece, yes. Um,
but like that's how it starts. So that's like what I mean is like he's not willing to budge and he's not willing to listen, just like his father. So it's this is step one. Step two, what's next? So
No, absolutely. And the fear is like he could, because he's now stronger because they helped him get stronger.
yep.
The concern is like, oh, can he do as much damage as Omni Man? Which realistically, I would imagine yes. Um, I'm not gonna question.
I don't think he's at that point yet. But
I think he might be now.
he can still. I think
Let me
Mark.
let me rephrase it this way. He can do the same amount of damage that Omni Man did when they fought each other, but I don't think Omni Man used his full strength.
Okay, okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, I think what I was
Mike's
gonna say
okay with
was,
that statement.
well, if you're saying Omni Man at full potential,
No. I don't think no. Definitely not at full potential. I meant at that moment because
yeah,
I will at least we can at least agree that Omni Man was showing most. Let me rephrase that. The most amount of strength he's ever shown during that scene in any of the other episodes.
yeah,
So he was not saying he still wasn't holding back. He was. He was not holding back nearly as much as he was in all the others.
yeah. No,
And
that's
I
fair.
think Mark, if Nolan stayed at the strength that he was at that time, meaning like not getting himself like to his full potential at that point, like using the full max of his power at that time, Mark would be able to either beat him or equal him at that time.
Mm.
I am not stating that he is stronger than Omni Man overall. No, Omni Man is still stronger. Um, and but yeah, I also I hate Oliver.
Oh yeah, same thing. Like stubborn, very much taking after his father with the superior complex, which is crazy because technically, according to his people, he is an inferior race. Like,
But I also don't think that was ever brought up though, because I think that's the other thing too was like I don't think that was ever brought up during his childhood.
no, definitely
Granted, he was
not.
also a baby. Um,
Yeah, I
so
mean, it's been what, like 6 months. So
has it been a full year?
honestly, don't know. I don't think they said so. I could.
No, well, they sort of kind of did because it's in the last 6 months he's gained this amount of strength, but we don't
Oh
know
yeah.
when they started his training. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
they definitely said six. It's been more than 6 months for sure. How much more I can't say.
I am looking that up right now.
But yeah, um,
Oh, huh.
it's been even less.
Not 6 months, 90 days.
That's it.
It says 90 days has passed between season 2 and season 3. So,
Wow. Well, 3 months. 3 months. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's he's grown quite a bit.
Well, I mean that's fine. I mean that. I mean either way. I mean he has the way his body is made up. He's supposed to be able to.
Yeah,
Um,
his race, his species, they
but
said it from the
can we
beginning.
talk? Can we talk about how the creatures in the Earth's core is stronger than a Viltrumite?
When they're in full rage mode.
They're also sturdy enough to not be killed by the.
Yeah, at least at the start. We don't like one of the things is like we don't know if Mark is holding back. I feel like he wasn't, but yes, I was noticing that. But also
Which would be a
when
great training like that. That's going to be something that they use for the Viltrumites. I'm calling it right now.
it wouldn't be a bad idea. But like what I was gonna say was that
Oh, Mark
a
will love
the
that. Dr. Seismic as part of the team.
oh yeah, but like I was gonna say, once Doctor Seismic lost control of them, their
They were done.
strength their strength like tanked. They were not as willing to take hits. I
Yes,
think
no. But I don't. I think it's more of like fear than it was of actually being damaged.
well, I think it was because
I
yes, I
think
agree with I agree with the fear part, but I think it was because he was controlling them.
they
He
were
was basically
communicating.
suppressing
They were communicating.
communicating, sorry.
We're
But
learning new words.
they were suppressing the fear aspect of taking getting hurt, and as soon as that control went away, they didn't
Oh,
want to get hurt.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So they were, in your mind, you feel like they were hurt, but they just, it wasn't obviously shown. I mean, also that would make sense too, because it would be an exoskeleton most likely, which
Yeah.
would mean like it would literally be like an ant, where they would be crunchy on the outside, mushy on the inside,
Mm-hmm. That's the yeah.
or an M&M, as some people like to say.
Who says that?
Not a single person.
Who says that?
Not a single person. I do.
And that's the problem.
I'm a people. I'm a people.
Oh, you're definitely a people. We never deny that.
I am a people. I am my own classification in every way possible. But yeah. So anyway. So yeah. So overall, all right. So anyway. So we also have the new Darkwing, which very much is Batman-like, which I don't have a problem with because he's meant to be Batman.
Yep. Yep.
We also have the robots come in, which we already knew they were going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I didn't know they were going to be there then, but I knew they were coming. So like they weren't amazing.
We didn't know they were going to be there this soon because of off of the trailer.
No,
we knew they were going to be there because of the trailer, but
no, that's what I mean. Like we knew they were going to be there, but not necessarily like this. So
it's
anyway,
funny because now thinking on it, it's like, oh, when he went into the White Room, we were like, oh, this might not be how season 3 starts, and that's just how season 3 starts.
it went all the way there real quick. Like
Yep.
I was like, oh, and then he starts destroying all the robots with ease, and then he hits him with the cry, the sea creature cry.
Yep. But it was funny
also,
too.
Can we also talk about the Guardians not knowing what to do?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because there's a twofold in that one. Like Cecil is a jerk, and but at the same time he's like, "Will you just calm down and I will shut it off?" And yet he's continuing not to calm down.
Yep. Yep.
So it's like it was one of the weirdest interactions because of that.
It was. I can understand their divide because
for sure.
they're witnessing everything unfold and they don't know how to react.
Because it's like, who's really in the wrong there? Because it's looking like they both stink. And
Yeah.
to be fair, they kind of do.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it's one of
my
the.
thing.
It's great because this happened after the Cecil memory flashback, and that flashback makes the audience so conflicted because if this happened without that flashback, we would be on Team Mark. Like there would be no question about it.
No, agreed.
But because we know what he went through and that Mark is literally him, we're like, oh my god, he's actually cares about Mark and is actually trying to look out for him, and he doesn't know how to actually express it, which is crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely right. I agree with you.
It's just these 3 episodes were just so action packed. So
then we have to move on to talk about Cecil's origin.
Yep.
So good.
No, it was great. It like he didn't want to bend from his morals.
No, can we just talk about how I legitimately for a minute went, Cecil's dead? Or I went, Cecil's dead. That was my first thought, right?
Oh, because of the.
And then 2, I went, Cecil's a robot?
That's exactly what I did. I'm like, oh, Cecil's a robot too. That's why he did that to.
So I went from Cecil's dead, right? When I meant that, I meant like he came back from the dead somehow.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I'm not thinking like the same way the other guy did. But then I went, Cecil robot? And then turns out, no, apparently his organs for the most part were not destroyed. It was mostly just the skin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was a cool thing. And then seeing his enemies that technically caused his injuries back to be the heroes, and then he shoots him in the head. He's like, oh, let me give him a proper thank you.
Yeah, that
they
saved him.
Let me show you how grateful I am. And I went, oh wow. And then they put him in a prison, and I went, I don't know where this is going.
And then as soon as he walked into the jail cell in that giant creature,
the last guy that we had in there was literally a pile of was just a puddle, and I'm like, I don't know where we're going here.
Oh yeah,
where we're going.
What's funny is that I'm like, oh, Cecil's gonna when we come back, Cecil is gonna just like have him completely like on the ground, knocked out. Like Cecil killed him. But then and the next episode pans out with him walking back to the cell and it's like, "Hey, boss," and I'm like, "Oh,
But we
I
don't
didn't
see,
expect that."
but we don't see Cecil. That was the big thing. We don't see Cecil, and all of a sudden I'm like, what happened? And then all of a sudden he's like, boss, you got a visitor, and he's like, bring him in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Cecil's now the boss.
I'm like, this is so fitting.
Yeah, and then I guess I didn't realize, not that I don't think I ever would have known either, was Cecil became the director when Omni-Man came to Earth.
Yeah, didn't realize that. Nope, obviously.
So Omni-Man was the first hero technically that Cecil worked with, like as the director.
Yep, because the Guardians didn't seem like really were a thing.
Well, no, they
Um,
were a thing because the Immortal existed. So they were a
well, yeah,
thing, but he didn't deal with them yet as the director. He might have dealt with them before, but as the director, he did not. The first one he dealt with was Omni-Man,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
love
No,
how
no, no,
they're
like
like, "Do you want us to send the Immortal first?" He goes, "No, the Immortal doesn't really know how to talk to people.
that's right. I forgot. I did forget about that. Yep. Um,
That's not
well,
Immortal style."
they worked with the Immortal, but does that mean the Guardians were a thing, or was it just the Immortal?
Well, I think the Immortal's been the Immortal, but I think the Guardians existed too. The Guardians, I think, were existed as long as the agency existed, because that was their group of heroes.
That's fair. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Um,
I don't think necessarily I don't know if the Guardians looked exactly the same at that time.
well, yeah, definitely. I kind of assumed that like maybe team members came and went or
I would
died or
assume so,
whatever.
but I mean, like, Immortal would have been obviously the only same one because he
Yeah.
literally is immortal.
But yeah, I liked that where he's like immortal, just knows how to punch. He doesn't know how to talk. Um,
Agreed.
I like that. Which shows that clearly they know his worth.
No, correct. And then Cecil goes out there and and they're like, "Are you gonna go out there alone?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Worst case scenario, best case scenario for you guys. You guys get the director you really wanted."
Yep.
Um,
Which then as soon as that happened, that earned him a lot of respect, and they like put him right in charge with it's what he needed to do, and he knew
I had just so much more respect for Cecil than I ever thought I would, and
it.
I am Team Cecil.
Oh yeah,
I
one
never,
hundred percent.
honestly, if you would have told me at the end of season 2 I was going to be Team Cecil,
Call you a liar.
I would have called everyone a liar. I would have said you're an idiot. There's no way. Cecil does what's needed, but he is not somebody I will ever feel bad for, or
Hmm.
I will ever be on his side. And I'm like, damn.
Does that great start to the season so far?
Oh,
Absolutely fantastic.
yeah, we're definitely gonna. Which also with Lamstrom being back, because I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Um, we also now have the ability to have the Invincible War.
Yep, and now the multiverse is back in play because obviously with Langstrom being gone before, we didn't know what was going on. Uh, that was another thing that was upsetting me with season 2 because like thinking on it was like they introduced this and now the one guy that could get to the multiverse, as far as we know, is gone.
Yeah,
So
but I'm very curious to see which Landstrom this is.
I'm curious. I'm curious about this in general because obviously the one that we knew that wanted revenge on him is dead, but clearly this one
Well,
still
no,
wants.
no, he's not dead. Hear me out. The one who wants revenge on him was was most of them, uh, because he absorbed the memories of everyone.
Yeah,
He absorbed the memories of all of them, and then blame. He couldn't piece who he was anymore, so he couldn't remember which.
yeah, yeah. No,
So like,
I
it's one of those things where it's like technically the one who hates him still can exist because he absorbed all of the others, but we assumed all of them died, but that doesn't mean they did.
no. That's. I mean, yes, that is true. We didn't because we're assuming he absorbed all of them. Some could still be alive. That, like you said, can still hate to still not like Mark because of the universe they came from, where Mark
Yes.
teamed with his father.
Uh huh.
So that is, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, I
That
know.
is,
That's why I'm here. I'm a thinker.
I'm so glad that you just now thought of this, because I know for a fact you didn't think of this before.
No, because I didn't know Landstrom was alive. And that's an honest. That's a whole other thing. So no, I didn't until today because I didn't know Landstrom was alive.
For context, yesterday when Scott and I were doing our recordings,
So Mike, no, I'm gonna say it because Mike's like, "Oh, did you see the after credit scenes? Landstrom's back," and I'm like, "Clearly not." Because I didn't know Landstrom was back, and then I watched it, and I went, I saw this. I just didn't know it was Landstrom.
well, that's your fault. You should watch it
Oh,
with the
oh yeah, I should.
subtitles.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna watch it with sometimes things are subtle. Okay. Anyway,
What's great is that like I prefer not watching stuff with subtitles, but
I
because
know.
Steph likes watching it with subtitles, it just happens to benefit me that I can get a step ahead in this case. But speaking of the post credit scenes, I
I
loved the interactions with Nolan and Alan.
yes.
Absolutely great.
I love how he gets taken away, and then when he comes back, he's just like, "Oh, I didn't think you'd be back. So you thought of me."
So you were he's like, yeah, I told you they can't really kill me. Wait a minute, you do
Do
care
care
about
about
me.
me? He's like, "That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant."
And then they goes to like the Family Guy thing of Alan annoying Nolan, so like Nolan's giving him the silent treatment. It's like mum, mummy, just like Nolan, Nolan.
Nolan, Nolan. No, it was perfect. I will say this: that they were good because it's not giving us enough, but it's giving us enough. Meaning, like it's
It's
giving
letting
us
us know
nothing.
that something's going on.
Like they're clearly gonna. There's clearly something that's gonna happen with these guys, just not yet.
Yep.
Like we're just gonna and then the Landstrom thing threw me off because I saw it. I saw the ball. I saw it explode and everything else, but I didn't put two and two together who it was. Like I was like the voice sounds familiar, but I'm not
Yeah.
registering.
The,
But anyway,
the
so
the big issue with that was that we thought that all of the Langstroms were killed.
well when we think about it, we know for a fact they couldn't have been because Landstrom is infinite because there's infinite amount of universes. I
So
will understand what you're saying though. Like all the ones that were there should have been dead. That's the thought.
yeah, my thing was like the reason we thought anyone that would have connection with Mark would, because if I remember correctly, in season 2 he said that he was a special one, that he was the only one that had the ability to travel through multiverse. So that's why he was the one assembling all of them, because he was the only one with that ability.
Yes, but then he gave all of the others the knowledge that the multiverse exists, which therefore gives them the ability to not they don't have the ability to teleport like him, but advance their technology to be able to do so.
Yeah, but my point is that because this one that had the ability to go between dimensions ended up dying,
No, that one is
another
dimensions.
another one coming in didn't even cross my mind. So I was like, okay, this is done. It was dumb.
To be fair, I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, so like
You're not gonna.
that
I'm
like
not gonna argue that point because I agree with you. He was the one who had the multiversal power. I'm like, oh, that's kind of sad that they were quick with the multiverse, but
yeah,
clearly not.
it was
Um,
literally just essentially just a tease, and then it was done. But clearly, there's a lot more to it, which I'm glad that it wasn't just like you
which
know,
I'm wondering if they're making it to the point of like that Landstrom was not the Landstrom, meaning like that Landstrom was the one who had all the powers, obviously,
mhm.
but they're like, no, that wasn't even the worst one. I'm the worst Landstrom because I
Yeah,
will destroy you.
and
And
they
he's like,
could just
I,
like you said, there's
I,
infinite. They could keep getting a worse and worse one.
and
You
he's
know.
like, by the way, I have a million of Invincibles here, and they're there to destroy your Earth. Which, spoiler alert, does happen in the comics. Um, so that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the Invincible War this season, or at least the start of it.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think it's going to be this season. I feel like it's going to be next season, because this season they're going
I
to
was
be
gonna say,
focusing on Viltrumites.
well, no, what I was gonna say is that's exactly it. I think they're going to have the Viltrumites come in for scouts, get killed or defeated,
Mhm.
or acclimate to Earth.
Oh, good. Yeah, they
Spoiler,
all turn soft.
spoiler alert, happens in the comics.
Oh, okay.
But I will say this: I don't know if it will happen because some of the ones that acclimate on Earth look to have been killed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
So like,
this is going to be the same thing that happens with Nolan. Nolan acclimated to Earth.
no, I know, but I meant like the ones who did it in the comics died, or
Hmm.
we assume they're dead
Yeah.
because their head go boom. So granted, it was with fists, but still.
Okay,
No, but I mean, we saw their heads get like smashed. Like they're to my mind, they're dead.
the way that you phrased that, you were like,
Their
oh,
head go boom.
because
Their head go boom.
they acclimated to Earth, and because they acclimated to it,
Oh
it
no no
was
no
like a failsafe that their head would, because they were traitors, they
no
would.
no. I meant in the show, like they died.
Yeah.
Um. So anyway, they yeah. So the third episode was heavily focused on Oliver. Um. In the sense of his powers. Oh, can we talk about the beginning scene with those two villains?
The Mahler twins, I was gonna say,
No,
are.
before that, the sad villains.
Oh my god, yeah.
It
I
was
was like, what is
so
the point of
cool.
this?
I'm like, why is it so silent? And then
the,
I'm like, it's so silent. It's irritating. Then we see Bulletproof, and I'm like, I don't care about Bulletproof. And then they made it so sad, and I was like, oh, this is so depressing. And then
that
they get
that
beat up, and I'm like,
that
ah,
scene
was so
had
good.
my undivided attention because I'm
Oh,
sitting here. I was playing a game, and I'm like, I had to stop playing to watch that because it was
there's no
like,
sound. There's no sound. You had to
when
watch it.
I'm like, there has to be something more to come from this. Like they can't have like such a tragic story. Like this can't be the end.
No, it
And then
was.
it was. I was like, why?
No,
Oh
absolutely.
my
It
god.
was it was not what I was expecting, but so well done. But it
Oh, it
also
was
showed too, like
beautiful.
it was but I think
And then the
like
flower, like it represented them.
no, I know. I can we just talk about too how this meant to show you like it was meant to show like you could try to be someone you're not, but at the end of the day, if the world keeps knocking you down, you're gonna go back to the easy way.
Yeah,
And it's so sad.
I mean, you could try to be as best as you can, and sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes life just doesn't work in your favor, and you know,
No, it was just sad. It was
like
a sad
they
story.
resorted to crime because they had no choice, and unfortunately, like
I mean,
they
yeah,
tr- they tried their best.
they did
Like,
everything they could, and then they went back to it because it was the only thing that they could make money to
and
survive.
even like another thing that makes it me not like Mark this season is that when the guy with the ropes grabbed Oliver, he instantly stopped. Like he didn't attack him, he let him go, and then Mark just proceeded to attack him. Like he because he's like he had boundaries that he wasn't going to attack a kid.
Correct.
Uh,
I mean, no, I 100% agree, but he still got knocked down and beat up. Um, we
yeah.
also we also got to see the crime syndicate again, with the Rock guy being in charge, which I thought was kind of cool.
I'll be honest, I don't remember that.
Oh
I'm
my gosh.
completely blanking.
So remember when they were gonna it was the electric and magma guy that
Yep.
they fought for them to be hired. Remember, because it was to get Multi-Paul out of prison. It was all to get
Oh,
Multi-Paul
yep,
out of
yep, yep,
prison.
yep, yep, yep,
But
yep, yep.
before that, they had the guys go up to the Rock guy and they're like, "Hey, Rock, what's his
Yeah.
name? It's not Rock."
Yeah, I know exactly who you're
So
talking about. I don't
he
remember the
took
name.
he no, but he takes over the crime syndicate,
Yeah.
and so like he's the one who's like, we allowed you to be in charge, but like we'll change our mind in a minute if this happens, and I'm like, okay, like I guess we're gonna do that, I guess, but no, it showed another side of like, oh, this is still going on, like
Yeah.
this is still a thing, which I did like. Also, Multi-Paul is duplicates sister, I mean brother.
Yep. Which I had said yesterday about how when we were in the trailer,
We thought it was
when we
just a
saw
different haircut.
we
Of
thou it was Kate, and it
I
was
just thought it
actually
was a different
Paul.
haircut. Yep.
Um,
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. Um, Paul gets arrested, shocking. And then the Mauler twins, that was sad. I was really
I can't
sad
I
because,
can't believe they actually died.
well, they could have a failsafe where another clone could come out.
I think that they made a big enough stink that they're actually gone. Uh, but like you're not wrong. Like you're not
No, here's
wrong.
the thing. I'm not wrong, but I get your point. Like they have every right to be finally dead.
Yeah.
because this is the first time where both have been killed.
Yes. Um,
But we do
and
have
we've
the
never seen
but
any kind of failsafe like
well,
that
we
before.
do have the multiverse though,
True.
because the Mauler twins do exist in the multiverse.
That is true. Yeah.
But that being said, our version of the Mauler twins are gone,
Hmm.
which is kind of sad. Oliver broke one of them's jaw, and him like, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, and I'm like, he surrenders for God's sakes, kid. He surrenders.
You sick, twisted little little alien.
Like, I'm okay with you killing the first one on accident.
Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds stupid to say,
It was
but
an
like,
accident. Yeah.
but the second one was not an accident,
No, that was deliberate. That was very, very much like I'm gonna rip your face off,
and he did.
and he
Um,
did.
and then
That
Mark comes.
look in his eyes after was just like,
Oh,
oi.
it was yeah. No, it was not fun. And then Cecil comes down. I was like, kid, calm down. And then Mark comes in, just, "Rrr,"
Uh huh.
and he's like, why don't you look to see your brother, you idiot? And he gets thrown down. He's like, hypocritical, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I guess your brother's a killer too. And Cecil's not saying it because he really truly thinks the kid's a killer. He's saying it because of Mark's thoughts on everything.
He's trying to get in Mark's head,
He was
and
trying to prove to Mark, like,
he's trying to prove a point. Yeah,
and
he's
and
trying to get through to him.
and he kind of did, in my opinion. Well, I don't think
Yeah.
he got through, but he proved his point.
Well, to Mark, he's just trying to manipulate him like he has been all along,
True.
and he is, but it's not in the now that we know his past.
It's not in
It's
the way
not.
we assumed.
Yes.
I agree with you. Like, yes, he is manipulating, but not anywhere close to the degree in which, not to the way we assumed.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that was, and then him going home and being punished for killing. I was like, I really hope Oliver dies soon.
Oh man, it's that whole exchange was wild. Just the like,
I do like.
like
I will say this. I love Debbie's explanation to him.
yeah,
Like, hey, would you be okay if I died? Well, no, I love you and everything else. Blah blah blah. I'd be very sad. All that stuff, right? And she's like, exactly. There are people who would have felt the same way with their death. Okay,
hmm
so just because you don't feel anything for them or you don't know them or anything else doesn't mean they don't deserve to live. And I'm like, Debbie, you got me good. I wanted to be mad, but at the same time, like, because I've never been a huge Debbie fan all the time. She can go. She causes some problems sometimes more than she
yeah.
should.
Last season she caused some problems. Absolutely.
I will say though, this speech, 100% all for. That was a
Yeah,
great, great, great speech. Um, there's some other stuff that, like, obviously Eve and Mark are together. Um, and there's
that
some other
whole
stuff.
interaction was crazy. Is it just
Yeah,
like
I'm kind of like, eh. I'll say it this way: they're gonna dive into more of it, so I'm not worried about it.
yeah.
But like these 3 episodes were kind of just like for that part of the story was kind of just like, eh.
Well, yeah, but it was just like the little bit of drama at the beginning about how like he brought up the future self,
And then
like
they have to go down into the earth to face Doctor Seismic. Um, but anyway, so let us move on to my character spot. Oh no, Spider-Man.
yeah. I was gonna say
Let's
jumping
go
the
to Spider-Man.
guns.
I like this. We got to see some incredible villains that don't normally get to see the light of day.
Uh huh. We got to see some.
But I have to say, I was incorrect about the fire um, villain the last video.
Yeah, what was his name again?
So I said his name was Scorcher, which is a Spider-Man villain. However, this particular guy is bu- butane, like the gas.
Oh,
Butane.
okay. All right, I
Butane,
didn't
is that how
remember
you say
that.
it? And
Yeah, yeah.
apparently, the reason why it was clear as day it was butane and not Scorcher is when he made the blue flames.
Oh, okay.
So that was the determination that it was butane over um, Scorcher.
hmm Um,
Spoiler alert: similar powers.
really?
But no, I just wanted to make that clear because I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because I looked up the names of everyone, and I was like, oh, okay, and realized kind of like, oh no, my whole thing was just like I was looking up the names of the other villains, right?
Mm.
Because I was like,
And then
he
that
had
one
no
popped
sympathy.
up.
And then that one popped up, and I was like, butane. Who's butane? And I was like, oh, it's the fire guy. I'm an idiot. But realistically, it doesn't change much. Um,
um,
so
I liked in this that they were basically like playing around with Spider-Man, getting new costumes and like testing his PR.
what
With
makes sense?
yeah,
I
because you need a good suit to in the public eye. If your suit is scary, you're not going to be good superhero.
no, I agree. I'm just stating like wasn't expecting it, but I liked it.
Yeah,
I'm also going with the idea that Norman Osborn is going to stay a good guy for a while.
I think he's going to stay a good guy, but I definitely think that there's shades of him being a villain because of like you said now with the symbol being an Osgood and like
Well,
with the
I'm actually feeling less that be the case now.
oh really
Yes, because of who we found out to make the suits.
oh Doc Ock yeah um I feel like Norman had a in these 3 episodes at one point in particular though he had a bit of a temperament when like Harry or Peter was like doing something and he got like frustrated. I was like, "Ooh, that's not like signs of a good guy." Like, it was just like the way it came off. Um,
Well, I think the whole idea is, and this is where I'm kind of on the fence, is Norman Osborn is a bad guy. In all renditions of the comics, most of the time he's the bad guy.
yep.
He doesn't have to be. I know that's weird to say, but it's like, and I think we're looking at all these signs for him to be the bad guy when
Yeah,
he might not
100%.
be this time. That's more of what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're not in the right. You are absolutely right. Those were out of character in the sense of how they're portraying him right now, but it's
Yes.
not out of character of what we've seen in the past.
Uh-huh.
The other thing is, um, so the other, ready for the other villains? Speed Demon,
Mhm.
Tarantula. That was her name.
The sister or whatever, the
The
girlfriend?
girlfriend.
The girlfriend?
Yeah. Um,
Tarantula.
yeah. So I had to look up it multiple times because I was like, I don't believe that because that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense with what her
No,
powers
it
were.
does make sense
Really?
because, hear me out, it has to do with the fact that it's an unfinished suit, so it was only part of it. All of the
Okay.
things were not finished, so it's not the full suit. So because of it, it's a prototype. It's not meant to be her full suit, but
Okay.
But she is supposed to be the tarantula.
So Tarantula s-
Blades.
uh has blades,
Well, they're in the comics. It's tarantula arms. But yes.
but they're modernizing it and making it blades. Okay. I mean, that's fine. That's fair.
But they also didn't call her the tarantula in this.
They didn't give anybody a name,
No,
so
no, I know. Well, they actually gave one. Unicorn.
yeah, that's true. They did.
Who is my character spotlight?
And actually, no, they gave two names. He's not the character yet.
Oh, no, 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 no. They called her that, not him.
Wait,
Rhino.
what?
Oh, Scorpion.
No,
My bad.
no. Well, okay, yes, actually, no. I was talking about Tombstone.
Oh, okay.
I was way off.
I like how I'm like, no.
You went to everybody except.
But to be fair, because I said unicorn, and I was like, no, they named her Rhino, but then changed it. They were like, no, I'm not a rhino, I'm a unicorn.
Yeah.
And then, which I'm not wrong. And then the other guy in the car with her, I think, will become the Rhino.
Yep.
And then Scorpion, yes, didn't even think of that. I mean, I thought of that obviously. Um,
I mean, I had thought of it in the moment, but I just like because he hadn't
because we'd already
become
talked
like
about Tombstone, so I didn't even think of
yeah,
that one being it.
yeah.
But he's
It's just
definitely
that in
Tombstone
in
now.
in the other episodes they didn't name him, so that's why I said like he got a name, just isn't there yet.
Yeah. So it's more likely we're actually going to get him potentially this season. Um,
Yeah,
there was actually, put it this way, there's a lot better chance than I thought. I'll say it that way.
100%.
So yeah, so we had Speed Demon, Tarantula, and Unicorn. Um, and yeah, so that we had those, and then
And Doc Ock.
who's not Doc Ock yet? He's just Auto Octavius. Otto Octavius, sorry.
Well,
I don't
isn't
know.
he? I was gonna, is isn't he always a doctor? Or okay, no, scientist. Don't
Yeah,
doesn't
no. He is a doctor, but what I'm saying is, but he's not Doc Ock.
Doctor Octavius, but he's not Doc Ock. Sure.
That's what I mean. Like he's not. That's what I meant. Like yeah, he is a doctor, but what I mean is he's not. He when you think of Doc Ock, I think of tentacles.
He's
Right?
Doc Ock, but he's not Doc Ock.
Yes. What part of
Get
that
it
didn't you
right,
understand?
God.
You didn't understand? Oh, I made it super clear. He's not Doc Ock, but he's Doc Ock.
It's
What part
actually
of that didn't you
hilarious. Like
understand?
this, like looking at it, it's he's one of the few villains where it's his actual name. So it's like, he
Well,
does.
to be fair, you would never call him Doc Ock until he gets the arms, because he would always be Doctor Octavius.
Yeah. Yep.
But you're right. He literally does it because it's the 8 limbs, but also it's his name.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So the Scorpion as a gang was interesting. I thought that was
Mm,
kind of cool.
I liked it.
I don't hate it, and it works because of how we've seen the Scorpion so far.
Yeah.
Because we got to see him in the movie,
Hmm.
so I don't
Um.
hate that. What else was I gonna say? Um, I hate I hate Lonnie's brother, because now Lonnie's a bad guy now. Not yet, but he will be.
He's the
Um,
reason why he got
he was
he.
such a good kid too, and I'm so sad about it.
Yep.
So yeah, so we had Speed Demon, and we had Tarantula, who got kicked out. Who then that's when Norman started helping Spider-Man, and then pawned it off to his son. But to be fair, makes
Accidentally.
sense. Accidentally, yes, but he's kind of glad he did, because now he can actually run his business. So I
Yep.
get that, because he can't make it seem like he knows what's going on. You gotta kind of hide it. But I love the idea that the internship was only to find out who Spider-Man
Who
was.
Spider-Man really was. Like at least
Well,
not
he
to
said he
find
was
out who.
no, but he thought it was at least one of those scientists who made the suit.
That's what I was saying. Like like making the tech for him.
By the way, I now know Amadeus Cho. Finally know who he is in the comics.
Who was that one?
The show off scientist kid.
Oh, the jerk one.
Yes.
Okay.
He is the how is it for so obviously it's the Incredible Hulk, right? He is the awesome Hulk.
The Awesome Hulk.
He has like he has a like it's a phrase. It's like it's not the Incredible. So he basically turns into the Hulk. I kid you not. I cannot make this up. He is legitimately a Hulk,
Why is this not your character spotlight?
because he might come out at a different time, and I did the unicorn instead.
you you're choking.
No, no, I did not. Because I think that because as cool as that is, he's still kind of an idiot. But no, would you not? I can't. You.
That's hilarious.
But like, what threw me off is he's a Hulk, and he just calls. So he's called the Hulk, and I'm like, okay, he's the Hulk. Like, what Hulk is he? Like, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And it's like the Awesome Hulk, and I'm like, it was something so stupid it irritated me. And I'm like, are we really serious right now?
Oh, he's Braun.
He turns into Braun, yes.
Oh, okay. You know what's funny is that like Braun was the Hulk that I had added to my Avengers cast when it was when we had said like, oh, who do we want to cast as the one of our original videos.
Hmm.
I didn't recognize his name. That's hilarious.
Well, his name sounded familiar, but I couldn't for the life of me like put two and two together. But anyway, sorry, the totally awesome Hulk. I knew it was something stupid. I was right. It is the totally awesome Hulk. Um. So anyway, so he eventually, which is hilarious because um, he's not working with Dr. Connors, which would make more sense because of energy, and he's working in robotics instead. What?
Hmm. I just was confused because I thought when I was looking at Braun, they said that he was from like Argentina. He was from a South American country, and in this one, he's Korean. So I'm just a little confused.
There might be more than one Brawn, just like there's more than one Hulk, just like there's more than one Abomination. There actually is, which is so bizarre. His name's
Uh,
A-Bomb. Um,
that's fair. Hmm.
but anyway,
Weird.
so yeah, so we have that. Then we had the Unicorn, who literally shoots a laser from their forehead. Um, breaks everyone out of prison, then almost kills Spider-Man. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. Yep.
And in fact, would have killed Spider-Man if the Rhino didn't step in.
Well, it's funny is that.
Spider-Man saved the Rhino, and then
Yep.
the Rhino was like, you know what? I'm gonna help you out. We're good.
Yep, and he specifically said that where it's like,
No,
don't get
he
used to
goes,
this.
no, 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 we're not friends here, okay? You save me, I save you. We're even. We're done.
Yep. I love the we're gonna call him the Rhino, like you said, just because we're assuming that's gonna become the Rhino.
I mean, what other Russian is that big that's not gonna be the Rhino?
I agree, but
I like how you're like, yeah.
well, no, because you never know. They could make
No,
their own
they
twist.
could, but you understand what I'm saying.
But I like the entire episode that he is going like everyone is like, oh, we got to do this, and he's like, no, this is more fun. Let's do this instead, and just causing like let's just cause mayhem. Let's just cause chaos and destruction. He was just looking for fun, whereas the other guys were looking to make it out okay and unscathed.
Yeah.
Even in the prison break, he was like thinking about her, and they were like, "No, she's already out." And he's like,
No, no. He's like, oh, I hope you're gonna have to convince the other two. And she's like, they're already here. And
"Yeah,
like, oh. No, well done overall. We got the
the
different suits. We now have the future Foundation suit.
yep."
Um,
Which
like
they're talking about switching it up again because it's not like it needs more red.
well, to be fair, yes, they are talking about that. And to be fair, Spider-Man does have a lot of suits,
Yeah.
so him going through a lot isn't that crazy.
Oh yeah.
I'm also more okay with them going to multiple Spider-Man suits instead of all the other suits that we got.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Wasp, the Yellow Jacket, no, was it the Wasp? I think it was the Wasp because it was the Stingers, and then it was
Dragonfly.
Dragonfly, and then what was the other guy? Was the other guy a flying squirrel?
It looked like a bat.
That's what I thought too, but I was like, it's too. I didn't think it was a bat because the way the wings were, it gave me flying squirrel. Although that was the point of the wings, yes, that was the point of them. Um, but yeah, so like, and by the way, Peter did horrible with all those costumes.
Yeah.
And then Norman's finally, I like Norman being like, you know what? I'm trying to change you so much when we should be just focusing on your strengths.
Yeah.
And going with that. Which makes sense.
I
Good talk.
crap. I forgot what I was gonna say now.
Incredible. You're the best.
Go. Continue. I'm done with you.
So we have Tombstone, who got stabbed by Scorpion, and now he's Tombstone.
Yep. He got dubbed Tombstone because he didn't like getting called Superstar anymore.
Now he's like, now you've earned a new name, knocking him down like Tombstone over here.
Well, actually, they originally said Gravedigger.
They did. They did.
And then they said, no, Tombstone. And I'm like, I'll be honest, that little flow of names, that was pretty nice. I liked that. It felt actually natural instead of just, instead of like a comic book thing. It's like, oh, we're going to call you this now. It's like, no, you're actually looking for a good nickname for him.
No, agreed. No, I will agree to you on that one.
Oh, actually, I do remember what I was going to say. The only thing that I am not too crazy about and in this show so far is Peter Parker himself, because I'm in the I can't say mindset, but like I like
a nerd and has no friends.
I don't like him having the confidence that he has in this show, where he's like showing off and being brave and whatever, and like I like a more timid and quiet and
well,
that's what
he is.
I think he's more on the other end than the normal. like let's
Give me
put
an
it like
example, because like when he was in the scientist room, he got knocked down a ton because he's nervous. Um, so like I'm trying to see where you're talking, because every time you've seen him be like outside his norm is because he was being hyped up by other people. He had people who cared for him.
I
Is
understand
that
that.
your issue? Do you want him not to have friends? Do you think Peter Parker should be a loner forever? You think that nobody should have friends in school?
Yes. School is meant to suffer. No, no, it's just because yes, he had other people hyping him up, but at the same time he wasn't as shy because like, Pete the Peter that I'm in my head is going is like if people are hyping him up, he's like willing to participate but not as he seems more enthusiastic. I'm not saying like I guess when I said like I don't like it, it's just like one of those things where it's like something
I
you have to get adjusted to.
I think for me it's like he's being a chameleon. Like he's trying to
Yeah.
fit in, and that's really
Yeah.
what it comes down to. And I don't think that's who he really is, because he's too nervous. He like we've seen enough of him to know that he's not like that. Um, but overall, I thought these episodes were great.
It was
Um,
kind of giving me like more of like the Amazing Spider-Man Peter Parker, where
no, I think it was
not not not
no.
not to the extreme, but I still like got that a little bit feel like it a little bit. Because obviously he's not going around riding a skateboard and like being cocky and whatever, but
No,
like
he's being
he's
invited to like normal school stuff, which to be
which is
fair, which yeah, but that's normal, especially nowadays. Nobody's getting left out like they used to.
I don't know. I don't know how kids work these days.
You see it more now that they're being more inclusive in general. Like, oh, Peter doesn't normally have friends. Let's have him. Oh, let's hang out with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I'm not trying to say that they're like, because um, Nico is definitely his friend for sure.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying the other two aren't. I'm just saying that it's less likely just because of the situation. I feel like it's more of like a feel bad type of thing. Nico is definitely his friend. Harry's only his friend because he knows he's Spider-Man. That's it. And
Yeah.
friend is a strong word I'm using there.
Yeah. That's fair.
So I that's how I take it. I feel like they're just inviting everyone, and Peter happens to be there because he's a supportive person in the sense of helps out.
That's fair. That sounds good. I'll go.
Because
I'll
I don't take it as him being confident. I'm taking it more as other people around him are like like boosting him up, which is very different. He's not taking the initiative at
Yeah.
all,
No, that's fair. That
because
is that is fair.
everyone is building him up. He's not building himself up ever. Um, so let us move on to my character spotlight.
Yep. You have a big head.
Milos Milos Masraki. I am butchering that name like you wouldn't believe. It's a male. Um,
It's a male.
was a Soviet intelligence agent assigned to security duty at a private laboratory of the inventor Anton Vanko. Vanko was engaged in the development of advanced technological weaponry and augmentation. His first completed project was a full suit of armor, which he himself would later wear as the Soviet operative codenamed the Crimson Domino. His second finished project was a helmet and a harness into which offensive radiation beam weaponry called the Power Horn was integrated. Vonko offered this invention to Maserati, or Milos. I'll say Milos instead of his last name.
You have
Um,
less chance of butchering it that way.
yep,
Yeah.
Milos, and with the government's approval, began to instruct the Soviet agent on its use. After some time, President Vanko defected to, or sorry, Professor Vanko defected to America. The Soviet government dispatched Milos, sorry, to avenge the disgrace caused by the inventor. He was given the specialized and heavily insulated costume and code named the Unicorn because the head-mounted discharge cone on the weaponry system he wore made him look like a unicorn. He had a horn. That's really what it came down to. The unicorn confronted Iron Man, the person instrumental in getting Vanko to defect to America, and coerced him into accompanying him back into the Soviet Union. where the secrets of Iron Man's armor could be unlocked, and Iron Man escaped, however, and permitted the enemy agent to go free. He was also among many of the costume menaces assembled by Doctor Doom to disrupt Reed Richards and Sue Storm's wedding, which is always a fun thing to add.
Yeah.
Um, the Unicorn then entered a short-lived alliance with Count Nefria in hopes of acquiring some funds for his subservice activities. Their scheme was thwarted by the X-Men, returned to his native country, um, Czechoslovakia. I can actually say that one.
Proud of you.
Milos voluntarily underwent special treatment by experimental hyperactive an activator and the device designed by the government to augment his physical strength. Several months later, reporting back to his superiors and raised suspicion as to his loyalty, and was forced to undergo weeks of brainwashing before serving as a test subject for hyper activator device. The treatments not only endowed him with superhuman strength, but it also undid his effects of his brainwashing. Thus, as soon as the treatments were finished, he turned on the scientists who empowered him and destroyed their machines so they could not create any more such as him. Donning a redesigned version of the power horn weapon, he fled, hoping to find means to cure himself from his unforeseen side effects of the treatment and accelerated cellular deterioration. Returning to America, the Unicorn first attempted to coerce the Congress of the United States into giving him funds to finance the investigation of the causes of his advanced aging. Iron Man managed to thwart his plans, but the Unicorn once again elude capture and sought the help of a renegade Soviet scientist known as the Red Ghost. The Red Ghost attempted to use the Unicorn as a mere henchman, but the Unicorn managed to ultimately overpower him. And when the Ghost provided incapable proved incapable of curing him, um, the Unicorn left and sought the Mandarin. The Mandarin turned the Unicorn into a body slave and used him as one of his, on many of the attacks on Iron Man. Though the mind transfer device that he had devised, the Mandarin was even trapped inside the Unicorn's body for a short time and then got back to it. The Unicorn then all unanimously um, I'm sorry, anonymously contacted the Titanium Man, who promised to find a cure for him if he defeated Iron Man. The disease having begun to affect his brain, the Unicorn readily agreed, referring to the patron as the Other. For the first time, Iron Man managed to apprehend his longtime foe. Iron Man placed Unicorn in a cybernetic cylinder, giving him a chemical bath designed to arrest his cellular deterioration, like stop it completely. By the time he was accidentally freed months later, the treatment apparently was a success. However, the disease had damaged his mind enough that he was now insane. After yet another battle with the Iron Man, Unicorn deprived of his rocket belt escaped. He was last seen heading out to sea, hoping to rejuvenize the Titanium Man, who was unknown to him. He had been deported to the Soviet Union months before. Eventually, the Unicorn pops up again in a Siberian prison. Inside the prison, he was used as a combatant in illegal fights run by the inmates. And in fact, one of the fights was between him and Bucky Barnes. He was tricked into blowing up a large part of the prison by igniting a sewer system. And with his eye beam, Bucky escaped, apparently leaving the Unicorn behind. One of the weird things here is at some point he gets an eye instead of the horn that shoots the lasers out now.
Oh.
Not really explained why.
Okay.
Apparently, he still uses the horn to help control the beam.
Hmm.
Don't ask questions. I don't have an answer.
Interesting.
He just randomly he no longer looks like a unicorn. He looks like a cyclops. So I'm like super confused.
Yeah.
Um, so later he returned to the United States and was one of many villains that Iron Man gathered by Spymaster. Were many villains of Iron Man gathered by Spymaster in his plan to assault Stark Tower after the Avengers left Earth to battle the Builders. He sends them in there, but turns out, well, the Avengers were still there and they got taken out. Um, When a hyper intelligent cyborg Kovac sent out to become God, he manipulated Tony Stark into funding him, disguising his plans as a lightning harvesting project. In order to prevent Iron Man's potential interference in his future goal, Kovac enlisted Unicorn to serve as one of his three disciples, alongside the Controller and Blizzard. Unicorn pledged his allegiance to Kovac and started referring to him as the Other. When stealing a Gutenberg Bible from the New York Public Library on behalf of Kovac, Unicorn was defeated and apprehended by Iron Man and his crime-fighting partner Hellcat. Unicorn was subsequently hospitalized but managed to escape. He reunited with them and against his disciples. I'm sorry, he reunited with Kovac at the Lightning site, where his master set a trap for Iron Man and Hellcat, putting them against his disciples, leaving them for dead after electrocuting them himself. Iron Man and his allies then raced Kovac and his acolytes to the second site, the warship of Galactus, Toa, where Kovac intended to reabsorb the power cosmic. Once inside Toa 2, the two factions came into conflict, and the Unicorn was defeated alongside the rest of Kovac's acolytes. Kovac is a powered down Galactus. Kovac managed to tap into the power cosmic, but
Good to
was
know.
later defeated by Iron Man. Unicorn was also seen participating in the auction, where he eventually was trying to. It's an auction of like bidding out who could take jobs, and one of them was he was to defeat some members of the New Mutants, and that was the last time we saw of the Unicorn. So the Unicorn was very different than what I thought. To be fair, so he is has superhuman strength because of augmentation and has the ability to lift 15 tons at his peak, which kind of makes sense of why she was throwing around Spider-Man around.
Mhm. Definitely.
Superhuman stamina, advanced makes incredibly less fatigue toxins, extremely durable, superhuman senses, accelerated healing factor, superhuman speed, and a powerful beam that comes out through their third eye. However, obviously, before it used to be the horn, and now it does other things. Um, the power grid, like always, is out of 7. Sorry, his intelligence is a 1 because it's slowed or impaired.
Ha!
I think it's because of all the damage done to his brain.
Yeah.
His strength is a 4 is because he's superhuman. Speed is a 3 because it's superhuman. Durability is a 3 because it's enhanced. Energy projection is a 4 because it's medium range. And the fighting skills is a 4 because he's an experienced fighter. So overall, when he has the
I
horn,
like everything is like superhuman, enhanced, and then just intelligence. Nah, he dumb.
he dumb. So one of the things with the power horn is he can create force blast, magnetic levitation, force fields, and thermal beams. Um,
All right.
with that, well, that's because it's the horn, and it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's just
For
you
now,
know.
it's just a laser beam from his third eye, so and yet still called the unicorn, which confuses me. But for now, that is the unicorn. So next week we're going to be talking about Punisher, 3 more episodes of Spider-Man, 1 episode of Invincible, 1 episode of Harley Quinn, and we're going to be talking about the Captain America 4 movie. So
Oh
for
my
now,
God, there's so much. I forgot about Captain
so
America.
for now, we're going to have to sign off. So this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.